Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Let me just do. Actually, we're gonna have much audio. I want to do an audio test real quick to make sure that you can hear me and that you can also hear what I hear. Hold on, let me try this. All right. So I'm loving all of the CIA conspiracy theories in the comments. It's giving me a good chuckle. Giving me a good laugh. Honestly. Okay. So Hello, hello. Okay. I figured it out. I had so many stories ready for you guys. I had so many tabs open that my computer literally froze. You see, this is why it's important to support independent media and donate to the GoFundMe. I'm sure one of you will be kind enough to drop the link. I had to close them down, but I'll pull them back up afterwards. But I have so many stories; they're so detailed, and we're gonna get through them one by one. Dude, okay, so first order of business. You guys have hit the like button, yes? Good. Because you already know how the algorithm is. First story. This is awesome. So, as you guys know, I built a website. Okay, RichardMedhurst.com. Now, there are a couple of things on here, but the highlight, what I want to point your attention to, I had an exclusive interview with Gary McKinnon. So I've talked to you guys before about Gary McKinnon on this show, and he's Scottish. He's also a UK citizen that the United States tried to extradite. And I remember this since I was a kid. I remember watching him on BBC Click Online, which was this tech show, this weekly program where they cover, all things related to electronics and technology. And on one episode, they interviewed him, and I think I was about 11 or 12 when I saw this. And he perpetuated the biggest computer hack of all time. Okay, he hacked into the Pentagon, NASA, the Air Force, the Navy. I mean, it's crazy. And they tried to extradite him for 10 years. Like this extradition battle is insane. And what's interesting is this very same extradition treaty that they're trying to use against Julian Assange, and tried to use as well against Lori Love. They were going after Gary McKinnon before it was even ratified. So this thing was already in the works. In any case, I had the opportunity to do an exclusive interview with him. And we did this via email because, I was covering the Assange hearing, and he was actually brought up. He was mentioned in it. And so if you go to the website, RichardMedhurst.com, you'll find the interview. Let me just pull it up for you. There you go. And I asked him a bunch of questions. He was really kind. This was awesome. I I had so many things that I wanted to ask him about his experience battling the U.S. in court, about how it was for him. And he was so kind, and he answered everything that I asked him, and really just great stuff. And we also talked about Assange and the similarities between their extraditions and all these things. So definitely please go read it. It's really, really lengthy, and it's thankfully he didn't get extradited, right? So he was one of the first to have this extradition treaty used against him. And of course, the same espionage court, right? The same Eastern District in Virginia, the classic template, right? Everything that you've seen used against Assange, against Lori Love, Chelsea Manning, all of it, right? And they completely exaggerated the things that he did. They said that he caused, enormous damages, and they always do this. They always exaggerate. They always lie to justify the extradition. And it's really a crazy experience, because his case actually It went to the European Court of Human Rights. It got rejected, I think, twice by the High Court in the UK, and then the Supreme Court wouldn't even look at it. All of this is in the article. It's in the interview, so definitely go read it, and the link will be below. Besides that, definitely one of the highlights of this year being able to interview Gary, and he's really a cool guy. And by the way, just so you know something, he actually went looking for evidence of UFOs. So I asked him about that, and again, I'm not going to spoil anymore. Definitely read the interview and watch the one that he did with BBC on Click Online. I've linked it in the article as well, so you can watch it. So just very quickly, just to show you the website as well. I've divided things into little sections. So you have the video section over here, U.S. politics, imperialism, Julian Assange, Syria, Palestine. Yeah, some of them overlap, of course. Some videos are both in the Syria section and the imperialism section because they're, very much related. Then under articles, you'll find the interview I did with Ava Bartlett, right? And here you'll find the one with Gary McKinnon. Interview section, you'll find all the people I've had the pleasure of interviewing. This has really been an invigorating year, to say the least. Truly blessed. And I've also at the bottom put my appearances where I've been featured. I still need to add a few more, but then there's a little biography section. Still needs a little more expanding, I think, but there you go. And the donate, that's about it. It's a very simple website, but I think you'll enjoy it. And yeah, at the bottom, it's just out of frame, but you can see the sign up for the newsletter box, right? So hold on, let me see if I can move that up. There we go. So this is the same newsletter that I told you guys about. If you have already signed up on it, you'll see that I emailed you this week about the Chris Hedges interview that I did and the Jimmy Dore interview. So I'm going to be using that to send you, important videos, and also when we go live. Okay, so not this time. I didn't do that today, but next time we go live, I will be using it, because YouTube doesn't always tell people. So there you go. Yeah, so that's it. That's the website. Very fancy. I know. And, you I forgot to show you the homepage. There we go. It's just a picture, but, the main sections are at the top. So you'll figure it out. It's not that difficult. RichardMedhurst.com. So yeah, let's get to the other news that I want to cover with you guys. Just give me 1 second over here to post this. Hold on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Ooh la la. So, all right. I know you guys want to hear about AOC. And believe me, you will hear about AOC from me. But first, I want to, again, we have a lot of stories to cover. So I want to start with this. Hold on, let me get this over here. There we go. Yeah. Right. Okay. So Venezuela just had their legislative elections, right, on December 6th. And this is very interesting. So just to give you the results very, very quickly, very briefly, the PSUV, which is Maduro's party, the ruling party, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, they won 68% of the vote. Okay, and they captured 67 seats in the National Assembly. Now, the turnout was 31%. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second, but it needs to be noted that the opposition that is backed by the US and, about 50, 60 other countries who've recognized this puppet Guaido as the interim president. They didn't waste any time calling this election illegitimate, right? So the EU, for example, immediately said that they reject the results of this election. Mike Pompeo, the purple McDonald's monster, he chimed in, of course, saying, Venezuela's electoral fraud has already been committed. The results announced by the illegitimate Maduro regime will not reflect the will of the Venezuelan people. What's happening today is a fraud and a sham, not an election. Which is hilarious coming from the United States. I mean, what more can I say? I mean, it's like the hypocrisy is staggering, right? The hypocrisy is staggering. Like, go fix your own democracy first, your democracy, before opening your mouth about other countries. That's number one. Okay. Number two, all of these Western countries and, some of their allies in Latin America were saying things like that the election is illegitimate before it even took place. And as per usual, you had the opposition boycott the election, right? So this is a tactic that we're seeing where you have the West, specifically the United States, they'll tell the opposition to boycott the democratic process, the electoral process, in order to discredit the institutions of a country that they've targeted for regime change, right? They're sore losers. They know that they're going to be wiped out. And, to save face, that's what they do, right? And I mean, it's just ridiculous. What they came up with, the opposition, what they came up with was some kind of app. They held a popular referendum, as they called it, in an app. So they told people, don't go and vote in the election, boycott the election, and come use this app and have a little referendum. And Mike Pompeo, of course, supports it, and he was tweeting about it again a few hours ago. And I mean, it's just so ridiculous and farcical, truly farcical. I mean, it's like something resembling the Iowa caucus. You remember the Shadow app, like this just banana republic nonsense? That's what it is, I mean, they talk about illegitimacy and they talk about fraud. I mean, like, look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. So what's hilarious is that they come here, Mike Pompeo, the opposition, all of these imperialists, and they say like, oh, look, the voter turnout was only 31%. What they're trying to say with that is, to them, that means the results are illegitimate and they don't reflect the true will of the Venezuelan people. Listen, man, 31% during a pandemic, 31% under sanctions with fuel shortages. That's actually impressive. Venezuela, in 2005, had a turnout of around 25%. I didn't hear the United States complaining then. Other countries in Europe have had lower turnout than that. And once again, let me remind you, these are not presidential elections. These are legislative elections, okay? So it's always going to be lower than what people, because people, they hear 31% and they're automatically comparing that to presidential elections. Once again, the countries, under extreme duress because of the sanctions that the US have imposed on them. You have this pandemic, and nonetheless, all of these people came out to vote. So that means absolutely nothing. And if you come and boycott the election, I mean, that's on you. That's on you, man. Now, it's important to know what's going on here because Guaido, the so-called interim president, this imperialist puppet, his entire thing, the entire premise of his supposed legitimacy emanates from the fact that he was the leader of the National Assembly. Okay, so there's a clause in the Constitution that says that, you know, if the president is unfit or ill or whatever to perform his duties, then the president of the National Assembly takes over. Well, none of that is true, first of all, right? But nonetheless, they use this clause to justify that. Well, guess what? First of all, Guaido is not the head of the National Assembly, man, since January of this year. Okay, so if you guys, you remember this guy? Hold on, I got his picture up here. Louis Para, where is he? There he is. Louis Para. So this seat is already contested, okay, since January of this year. This guy is technically the head of the National Assembly now, and he's not, you know, at least ostensibly, he's moderate opposition, so to speak, not, you know, full-blown sellout imperialist opposition. Nonetheless, this seat is contested. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the opposition did not participate. They got wiped out. And when I say the opposition, I'm talking specifically about Guaido and his cronies, because what the West wants you to think is that, oh, this election was, you know, 100% strictly regime run, right? We got to use the word regime for governments the West doesn't like. That's not true. Okay, you had a plethora of opposition parties and opposition candidates participating. So let's get that straight. But regardless what you think or what you support, Guaido is not the head of the National Assembly. So any sort of legitimacy, you know, even if you want to play devil's advocate, you can't. You just can't. The guy is not the head of the National Assembly anymore. So, like, under, you know, on what basis, under what premise are you calling this guy the interim president of Venezuela? Most Venezuelans do not even know who the hell this guy is. He's being imposed on Venezuelans by these hacks. And you remember I covered this Senate hearing a few months ago. If I'm not mistaken, it was Elliot Abrams who was talking to them, because he's the special envoy to Venezuela and Iran. And, you know, they were talking about how their entire coup basically is a giant failure. And it's so hilarious, how shameless they are. You know, like they're talking in a public hearing in the Senate, complaining that their coup has not worked. Like, they don't even care to hide it. And that was just 1 week after they were talking about stealing the oil in Syria. Again, shamelessly, just openly admitting to it in the Senate, like as if it's nothing, as if it's no big deal. And they were saying themselves, they were admitting themselves, Guaido is not the head of the military. He doesn't control the police. He doesn't control the army. He doesn't control the government. This guy is not the president. Even they're admitting that. Not to mention, in the last couple of months, in this last year, the opposition itself has become fractured. Okay, so they don't even know what the hell they're doing. I mean, it's truly a farce. It's truly a farce. And, you know, I want to point out another irony here is that you had the opposition saying things like, oh, you shouldn't go out to vote because they're claiming the elections are illegitimate, and also that because of the pandemic, it's not safe. And then a few days later, they're holding rallies. Hold on. If it's not safe to go out, why are you holding rallies then? Like, you make up your mind. Does it remind you of someone? Joe Biden, right? They're crazy. I mean, they can't even get their story straight. And another bunch of hogwash. Let me show you this. There was some story This is from the Grayzone, right? So they debunked this. You had people in the Congress in the US and in the media claiming that Maduro threatened to starve people if they didn't come out to vote. Complete garbage. And just hold on, wrong window. There we go. So I'll link you this article below. Go read it. And like, they completely mistranslated something from Spanish, and it's so embarrassing. I mean, it just goes to show you how these people are not just corrupt and evil, but also extremely ignorant. And they weren't actually talking about food. What what they were talking about, all right, was something completely different. So hold on, I'm going to link it to you below. So anyway, there we go. Comer not only means to eat, but is also slang for having sex. So they completely took this out of context and were like, oh my God, look, Maduro, he's such a dictator. He's starving the people if they don't come out to vote. Like, look at the hypocrisy here. Not only is this so ignorant and dumb and taken out of context, but who is starving Venezuelans with sanctions? Who is literally killing Venezuelans with sanctions? The United States. The United States has killed over 40,000 Venezuelans since 2017, just with sanctions. And that figure is obviously much higher now. Okay, so if you go read this report, this is by some professors from Columbia and Harvard, okay? Center for Economic and Policy Research. You go read this report. This is from April 2019, okay? They go into detail about this, and it is, without a shadow of a doubt, U.S. sanctions that have done this, okay? Look at what they say here. We find that the sanctions have inflicted and increasingly inflict very serious harm to human life and health, including an estimated more than 40,000 deaths from 2017 to 2018, and that these sanctions would fit the definition of collective punishment of the civilian population as described in both the Geneva and Hague International Conventions to which the U.S. is a signatory. They are also illegal under international law and treaties which the U.S. has signed and would appear to violate U.S. law as well. It's a very interesting read, very harrowing, and once again, they show you how sanctions are really akin to economic terrorism. I mean, to siege warfare. It's no different if you kill civilians with a bomb or by starvation. It's still murder. And then they do this like over the course of years, and then claim that Maduro is threatening people with starvation if they don't come out to vote. Which, I mean, look at this. Like, if you really cared about that, why the fuck are you putting sanctions on your own people? And it's not just a question of like the U.S. doing that. No. The opposition, Guaido, has been and is still calling for this stuff. Like, they want to sanction their own people. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but anyone who's comfortable with starving their own people just to get into power, scum. Absolute scum. So, we know this tactic. Okay, we know this tactic. They do this with every country that they target for regime change. They do it with Syria. They do it with Belarus. They do it with Iraq. They do it with Bolivia, right, with Morales. They also claimed fraud, and then of course it's all nonsense. Yeah, we don't recognize the results of the election. We're going to come and target you for regime change with sanctions. We're going to come and put our fleet on your border. We're going to come and harass you, blah, 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 blah. They just try to create this nonsense narrative to justify their intervention, right? Oh, look, it's the white man. The white man knows best. The white man thinks you deserve democracy, and whether you like it or not. And we're going to give you democracy by murdering you and starving you. Woke imperialism, right? We want to liberate you by killing you. Just, So this is why they do that, right? This is disgusting imperialism, and I mean they have no shame. They got no goddamn shame. Now, I actually I had the pleasure of interviewing Anya Parampil from the Grayzone, right? Because she was in Caracas during the legislative elections with Max as well, from Max Blumenthal, and they were covering it. And also, I got to interview the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jorge Ariasa, the Venezuelan Minister of Foreign Affairs. So that was a huge honor, a huge privilege to speak with him. So I did this for television. Definitely go watch the episode. And I talked as well about Bolivia. And I mean, just awesome. Seriously, I love talking to both of them. And man, that was so funny because I asked him about the Colombian president, Ivan Duque, because what this guy did, you had several hundred international observers that came to Venezuela, okay? Election observers. And when they were about to leave the country, the Colombian president suddenly decided that they're not allowed to fly over Colombian airspace back to Mexico, even though they had permission to. The flight was cleared, everything in advance. Like, this is no issue. So on the one hand, they claim that, oh, look, these elections, they're fraudulent and they're illegitimate and there's no transparency. And yet when international election observers come to verify the authenticity of them, they start putting up obstacles and screwing and messing with them. I mean, unbelievable hypocrisy. And so, you know, we talked about that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the foreign minister, he called Ivan Duque an employee of the United States. I laughed so much when he said that. It's so accurate. It's so accurate, man. Seriously. Anyway, yeah. So look. How much more obvious do you want me to make this, man? Venezuela is sitting on the largest reserves of oil on the planet. The largest reserves of oil. Bolivia has the largest reserves of lithium. There's no accident they're going after these countries. Grow the fuck up. They don't care about delivering democracy to other countries. They don't even have democracy in their own countries. They're pirates. The United Kingdom stealing $1 billion worth of gold, of Venezuelan gold that belongs to the Venezuelan people in the Bank of England. Piracy. Venezuela, Maduro even proposed, don't give us the gold, give it to the UN and let the UN use the gold to buy medical supplies for the pandemic, for COVID. Nope. And then you have an English court, remember, we covered this, deciding who the president of Venezuela is. Who the fuck are you on the other side of the planet? Like, could you imagine a court in Venezuela deciding who the prime minister of the UK is? The British would lose it. They would lose it. And then when Iran is sending fuel tankers because the United States has crippled, you remember at one time Venezuela, they used to export tons of oil. I mean, the US was one of their biggest clients, right? Now, because of the sanctions, because they've decimated their infrastructure, they can't refine any of it. So Iran has been sending them fuel tankers. Again, we've covered this. Just recently, about 2 weeks ago, Iran sent the biggest shipment yet, about 10 ships. Okay? And you saw how the Americans are losing it. You know, Mike Pompeo threatening to essentially just rob them. I mean, again, piracy, like literally, like in the ocean, they just want to like confiscate merchandise from ships. I mean, state-sanctioned piracy. They have no shame. It's crazy. So don't come here and tell me this is about democracy and about liberating people. No, This is about theft of resources. This is about regime change. This is about imperialism. This is about swines, pig imperialists trying to steal the land, the resources, and the wealth of Venezuelans, of Bolivians, and not to mention people all over the world, right? As we know very well in the Middle East. So, and by the way, given what just happened, I mean, we covered the entire US election, right? We covered the primaries. Dude, we already know for a fact in 2016 that Hillary and the DNC shanked Bernie to screw you out of healthcare. We know that for a fact, that they rigged that primary. And then it was decided in court that the DNC has the right to rig their own primaries. Like, they don't even care. Like, they'll get it legalized. You know, this is the point that I was making. It's like, if something is illegal, they'll make it legal. It doesn't matter. That's how corrupt they are. And then this year with the Iowa caucus, we just had a new report come out, an audit, that the DNC, they're the main reason that it was completely screwed up, and they blocked this investigation from sitting down and interviewing any of their staff. I mean, just pure corruption, right? Again, we covered all of this. And of course, Booty Juggalo's ties to that. So, you know, for the US to come here and then talk about free and fair elections, I mean, just go away. Just get the hell out of here, man. And not to mention the voter suppression. The voter suppression, man. You know, if you're black or you're brown, you can't even vote properly. You got to wait an entire day outside just to maybe get in, right? This is if they haven't purged you from the voter rolls and screwed you over in another way. I mean, just like unbelievable hypocrisy, seriously. And, you know, even Jimmy Carter, right? Former president of the US, he has praised the integrity of Venezuelan elections. They got a fingerprint scanner, it prints a receipt, and then it's notarized and put in a box. It's a whole sophisticated process. I mean, like leagues ahead of whatever they got in the US, right? So this is nonsense. And it's really like fundamentally racist as well at the core of it. It's like, oh, look, these non-white people don't know how to do democracy properly. What the fuck? No one asked you. Go mind your goddamn business. And just today, there was a statement released by Mike Pompeo's office. So he talked to, again, the Colombian president, Ivan Duque, and the subject of their conversation was how they're both looking forward to a peaceful transition to democracy in Venezuela. You go to hell. You're the Colombian president. You're the US Secretary of State. Neither one of you is Venezuelan. Mind your fucking business. And peaceful transition? Really? What, by placing warships and troops on the border? Oh yeah, that's real peaceful. That's real peaceful, man. They're there to have a little disco party, right? A little parade, right? Peaceful transition. Yeah, by murdering the civilian population with sanctions. They're just thugs, man. These people are murderers. They're scum. So, you know, all power to the Bolivian and Venezuelan people. All power to them. This is the resistance, man. This is a resistance against imperialism. I need a sip of water. Y'all got to give me a second, man. And I mean, this goes without saying, but if you look at the UK, you look at the United States, at those governments, I mean, it's the same gang. Just look at Biden, for example. Joe Biden. This guy's been in DC for 50 years. You just keep picking people from the same pool. The only exception was Donald Trump, because he's not really a DC insider. But even then, he's still an oligarch. He's still part of the establishment and the elite, right? So it's like, what you call that a democracy? Ah, man, I'm getting so. I don't care if they have the best democracy. Like, that's not even the point. Like, even if hypothetically the United States had the perfect democracy, mind your fucking business. Did I make myself clear? So I'm gonna get to all your super chats at the end. I want to make sure that I finish all the segments properly, thoroughly, extensively, because there are a lot of them. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm kind of annoyed now because the window that I had open, once again, like I told you, I appreciate your support, especially with the tech upgrade on the GoFundMe, because my computer went bananas, went bonkers just earlier. So let me just open this up, what I wanted to show you with the next segment. All right, give me a second, y'all. We need some elevator music, you know what I'm saying, to pass the time. Okay, yeah. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. Okay. So a lot of tabs, but
back in 2016.
Okay, you can hear the audio, right?
We put out a call for nomination.
I think you can hear it.
So we just have a little bit of.
And our political.
Yeah. Okay. So. Okay, guys, let's break this down. We need to break this down. We need to break this down. You already know what's coming. All right. Excuse me. So, AOC and Jimmy Dore. You guys, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the situation. Jimmy Dore suggested that AOC and the squad and all the progressives use their leverage to withhold their vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House, right? In order to force a vote on the House floor for Medicare for all, okay? Now, this has caused a shitstorm in the last week. And, I mean, this issue could not be more crystal clear. Like, I don't see how anyone can disagree with what Jimmy suggested here. And we're going to break this down. So the way this played out, Justin Jackson, NFL player, you guys know him. He tweeted out to AOC, if AOC and the squad don't do what Jimmy Dore has suggested and withhold their vote for Pelosi for speakership unless Medicare for All gets brought to the floor for a vote, they will be revealing themselves. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Exactly. And she actually responds to him. So what she says, she starts giving some nonsense excuses, right? She says, the problem with this idea, you haven't given enough thought to step 2. The Dem votes aren't there yet. And with a razor-thin margin, the Dem no's are a larger margin. So she's saying essentially that, you issue threats, you hold your vote, you lose, and then what? You're going to get nothing. If you want to know who's opposed, look at the co-sponsor list. What? And then she keeps on going. She says, in contrast, you can use the leverage to push for things that can happen and change lives, like a $15 minimum wage vote. Elevating longtime progressive champions to important positions of leadership. So what she's talking about here are committee assignments, okay? And what she's also doing is spewing a bunch of bullshit, okay? She's gotten really good at politics. Now, I was very lucky to have Jimmy Dore on the other day. Absolute pleasure. And he broke this down in a very succinct manner, right? About the excuses that AOC is giving in order not to hold Nancy Pelosi accountable. Let me just show you very quickly a short clip of that, all right?
I use AOC's own words against her. It's not my idea to extract something for your own vote. That's politics 101. Number 2, it's AOC's own words. She ran while she was campaigning. She was complaining that we can't even get a vote for Medicare for All on the floor, where in a country where 9 out of 10 Democrats want it, we can't even get a vote on the floor. And she said, we can't wait 100 years. We need this now. All it takes is courage. That's what she said when she was running, Richard. And now she could do it like that. And so she keeps changing her story. Her first story was it was a bad idea to do it because it wouldn't pass. And then now she's saying, oh, no, we are negotiating for things behind the scenes. It's a secret what we're negotiating. What the fuck? Well, guess what? It's not a secret what we want you to negotiate. We want you to get fucking Medicare for All for your vote. I don't want you to get a pay-go exemption, you gaslighting, bullshitting actress.
They had no problem passing the new defense budget. That was no problem negotiating and passing that.
$740 billion, no problem. It's stunning what she won't do now that she's elected, that she said she would do and that we must do. It's stunning.
It's just even when Trump did this fake pull out of Syria, AOC was saying, oh, that it's not the right time. This is reckless. We need the Arabs to be occupied a little longer, It's not the right time. And that's the same thing with Medicare for All. You people can live without healthcare for a little while. It's not the right time.
Which is exactly the opposite of what she said when she was running, Richard. That's the whole point. When she was running, she was saying the time is now. She was saying, I don't have to wait 100 years. All it takes is courage. The time is now. Well, here she gets elected, and no, it's not the time. The problem with here's the problem. It's hilarious. They're a fucking cartoon now, and they're easy to expose.
But Jimmy, hold on. I think I found a compromise for us. What do you think of these masks over here that AOC has come up with that say Medicare for All on them?
That's awesome.
I love Jimmy. What can I say, man? I love Jimmy. So just to further expand, just to further elaborate on his point, here are some clips that Jimmy pulled up of AOC saying the exact same thing that we are saying now. AOC herself. Okay, take a look.
You more votes, it'll get you more donations, and it'll get you applause. Here is AOC.
Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not advocate we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for All. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this.
We can. You can do it right now. Turns out we can do it, and you know you can do it, but this will get you more votes, it'll get you more donations, and it'll get you applause lines in front of a friendly audience.
All right, hold on. There's another one. There's another one that Jimmy got for us over here. Check it out.
She is again making our case, Justin. Here she is again.
Organized to win back the presidency, and we do all of that on election day, and then we walk away, we're not going to get anything done. Nothing's going to happen. The Democratic Party does not do more unless it is pushed. So we need to push them.
There you go. Look, man, if Jimmy knows, if I know, if you know, if AOC fucking knows, you can't hide anymore. Don't play stupid with us. Don't come here and play stupid with us. You knew this. AOC knew this before she even got elected, right? I found another clip. I mentioned this to Jimmy. I went out and I found it. Look what she's saying over here. All right. This is from Justice Democrats, right? They put out this video. Look at what she's saying here.
Political action since 2016. Yep. I've literally been movement first and accountable to social movements the entire time I've been running for office.
Right. It's really most people that change, right? Like they get elected and then they're like, okay, campaign's done.
There's a lot of people in the Democratic caucus. When we are courageous enough to just puncture the silence on an issue, they will start to move. Don't people realize that the most powerful position you can be in is when you are not materially attached to a position of power? If you're a one-term Congress member, so what? You can make 10 years worth of change in one term if you're not afraid.
People are saying, we gotta be.
There we go. She said it herself. If you're a one-term congresswoman, so what? You just saw AOC in multiple instances on multiple occasions advocating for the same kind of bold, direct action that we are talking about, right? And if you recall, when she first got elected, she was going outside of Pelosi's office and protesting and giving her a little tongue in cheek and saying, I'm sure Pelosi, who comes from an activist background, would appreciate this. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's it. So fucking do it. What are you doing? What are these nonsense excuses that you are giving people here? What is this? These are excuses. This is nonsense. The co-sponsor list doesn't mean anything. You remember when we were covering the primary, Kamala Harris, how she flip-flopped on Medicare for All, specifically Medicare for All, despite the fact that she was a co-sponsor, right? So this doesn't mean anything. The co-sponsor list is worthless. Put them on the spot. Look, why the fuck did you run for Congress if you're going to come and tell us that you can't do anything? Why did you run? Everything you're saying here was true before you were elected. Everything she's saying here. Everything. Washington, D.C. is Washington, D.C. Why did you run if you were going to come and give us this nonsense? Can you explain that to me? Why did you bother running? The worst part, man, honestly, the worst part of this, I mean, there can't be anything worse than leaving people without health care, but worse than her excuses are the bootlickers that are coming out and defending her. I mean, it's unbelievable. This is what happens when you start idolizing politicians. And what drives me nuts is like, she hasn't even given you anything. Like if she had given you Medicare for All, for example, and then you idolized her, I could understand the rationale. Like she not just fulfilled her campaign promises, like she ameliorated literally the quality of your life, of people's lives. I can understand that. I mean, it would still be, that's not ideal. You shouldn't idolize them nonetheless. But I could understand it a little more. But she hasn't even fucking done anything. What are you defending here? The whole point was that Justice Democrats, the squad, these progressives, they don't take corporate money. They're here to shake things up. They're different. They're here to fight for the people, right? It's not me saying that. It's them. It's them saying that. That was the whole point, that they're going to be different. How is this different? Dude, I guarantee you 100%, this statement, these tweets right here, remove her name, okay? Remove her name. If I read that out to you, would you know who had said that? You would have no clue. You know why? Because it sounds like a crooked ass politician who's not going to do anything for you. You'd have no clue. It's the same old talk. Oh, we can't do it. If you can't do it during a pandemic, if you can't do it when millions of Americans have lost their jobs and consequently their health insurance, because those two things are tied together, when are you going to do it? When is it coming? Huh? I mean, this is just absurd. Excuse me, I just need a sip of water. 1 second. And you know, what's terrible here, what's going on, is that you have a bunch of people that are running cover for her. I mean, that have started attacking Jimmy. You know, bunch of people at TYT, bunch of other people that you know, think this is a bad strategy. But you got, I mean, Anna over here, for example, she's saying, oh yeah, we should pressure politicians, but she questions the intentions. Bitch, I don't care about, look, first of all, I know Jimmy Dore has good intentions. You know why? Because he tells the fucking truth. That's why. Number two, I don't care who proposed the idea. That's not important. The important thing here is the concept that you go and you pressure the goddamn politician. Yes, you're not supposed to coddle them. What the fuck are you doing? What is wrong with you? You, like, these people have spent more time attacking Jimmy and running cover and protecting the squad than actually pressuring them. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. You're going to sit there and tell me AOC's feelings, the squad's feelings, are more important than people getting healthcare in a pandemic? I don't understand this. Like, I really, we have a big disconnect over here. Okay, I need to explain something to you. Me, as a non-American, when I see this shit, no, I don't accept this. No. This is horseshit. These politicians are screwing you, and then they have the nerve to come on Twitter and justify to you, make you think that it's acceptable that you can't have healthcare in the richest country on earth. I don't care if it's the poorest country on earth. You should still have healthcare. That's a priority. But nonetheless, the point is understood. The means, the facilities, the technology, it's all there. They just don't want to give it to you. This is unfucking acceptable. I do not want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. You have no goddamn justification, excuse, moral high ground. Nada. You got fucking nothing to justify this. Zero, asshole. I'm not listening to it. I'm not listening to it. This does not get more black and white. It could not be more clear. This is fucking unacceptable. And if you're going to spend your time attacking people that are actually trying to pressure politicians to move their asses during a pandemic, because it's bad enough without the pandemic, but specifically during a time of hardship, you are the fucking issue. You are a bootlicker. You are the issue. That's how these progressives escape accountability because they got morons running cover from them trying to bring up personal beef. You even got like this Francesca chick from TYT. She blocked me because I schooled her on Syria. And once again, like, you got to ask yourself, like, why is she bringing up like old beef with Jimmy and talking about Syria? First of all, you don't know jack shit about Syria. Shut your fucking mouth. All right. You people don't even cover foreign policy on TYT. You don't know your goddamn ass from your elbow. And whenever you open your mouth, it's imperialist horse shit. All right. That's number one. Number two, I schooled her on Syria. And this has nothing to do with Medicare for all. What are you doing? Like the only people you are benefiting are the establishment and people running the healthcare industry, healthcare CEOs, right? I mean, insurance company CEOs, big pharma, they love this because the root issue is not being addressed. How fucking selfish and dumb can you be? Like, you got people around you suffering. You claim that you're a progressive and the only thing you want to talk about is personal beef. Get the fuck out of here. You know goddamn right that this is the time to pressure politicians. You know goddamn right these people have not fulfilled their campaign promises, and we do expect better, and that's why we hold them to a higher standard. That's why. Because they claimed they were not going to be like the establishment. They claimed they were not going to be like Democrats and Republicans. That's what they claimed. They're public servants. Do you understand this concept? They work for you. People get fired for a lot less all the time, right? For example, if you work at Starbucks and you make, a latte wrong one times too many, you're going to get fired, right? These people are being elected to fucking Congress. They promised you healthcare. They're playing with lives and you're giving them a fucking pass? What kind of society is this? What kind of logic is this? People get fired for a lot less. I mean, not rightly, by the way, huh? Unjustly. But why are you giving politicians a pass when they are playing with people's lives, man? This is not okay. This is unacceptable. And, one other point that I want to make absolutely clear here. One other point that I want to make absolutely clear. Even if Nancy Pelosi even if you had already gotten Medicare for all passed, okay? Even if you got everything you wanted, why on earth would you vote for Nancy Pelosi? What is wrong with you? How can you sit there and vote for this person? How can you do that? You're voting for someone who covered for a fucking torture program? Look at this. Pelosi knew of waterboarding by 2003, right at the start of the war on terror, right? The so-called war on terror. You saw my video, by the way, with Andy Worthington, one of the world's leading experts on Guantanamo Bay, the man when it comes to Guantanamo Bay. You have a ton of innocent men just in that place alone. Just in that place alone. Never mind all the kidnappings, rendition, it goes on and on. She's covering for fucking war crimes. What is wrong with you? How could you vote for someone like that? Like, what are you doing in this party? You calling this person Mama Bear? She's been screwing over workers for 30, 40 years, covering for Bush's war crimes, Obama's war crimes. Who the fuck are you defending? What is wrong with you? This is not even just about Medicare for all. Like, out of principle, you should not be forming alliances or giving passes or enabling in any capacity whatsoever these sorts of people. I don't even understand why I have to explain this. Like, this should be dead obvious. This should be crystal clear to anybody with a fucking shred of integrity, man. Unreal. And it's okay though, I guess, right? We got some masks that say Medicare for all. We got some merch that says Medicare for all. Wow. Everything is Gucci now. Also, there was another thing from Dixon, Benjamin Dixon, I think. He was also tweeting some nonsense. He was saying something like, he deleted it, by the way. He was saying something like, oh, asking the squad to withhold their vote for Pelosi is tantamount. I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember what he deleted exactly. Somebody has a screenshot, but he said asking the squad to withhold their vote for Pelosi is tantamount to asking that they quit their jobs. Yeah. I mean, first of all, that's not even true. But even if that were true, if you are voting for a war criminal, you're voting for someone who covered up Bush's war crimes, Obama and his drones, the mass surveillance. She knew about all of this, not to mention how she's screwing people domestically. Yeah, you should quit your fucking job and you should hang your head in shame. Fuck you if you vote for Nancy Pelosi. Fuck you. You are the fucking enemy. You understand that? Like, I cannot make this more clear. You are the fucking enemy. These people are mass murderers. They screw over the working class on a daily basis. They pimp out your public institutions so that oligarchs and corporations can make money. Yes, fuck you. Quit your job. Fuck your job. You saw me, I play that clip for you from AOC saying, so what if I'm a one-term congresswoman? Where it at? You saying one thing and now you're doing another. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Unacceptable. I do not tolerate this nonsense. Now, by the way, we got 314 people watching. Make sure you've hit the like button because of the algorithm. And I want to talk about Assange in a second. And this is also something to do with AOC. Yeah. So let me just get a sip of water again, man. Y'all gotta make sure I stay hydrated, or else I'll forget. Yo, did my mouse literally just die? The wonders of technology. So we're good. So you understand my point. Like, just out of principle, you should not be voting for this kind of scum. Like, I don't even understand how you can run as a Democrat. It's not just a question of, oh, this government, this country, the political apparatus is so corrupted that one cannot transform it, nor reform it. I mean, just have some goddamn shame. Like, who are you associating yourself with? This is what is so insane, that people have managed to rehabilitate these parties, these politicians, to the point that it's not even questionable. Like, oh yeah, you know, she might vote for Nancy Pelosi. Motherfucker, I just told you who this person is, who she is, how she has operated under multiple administrations to run torture programs, to spy on her own citizens, to make sure that you don't have health care. What are you doing? How can you be affiliated with this cesspit? It's unbelievable. So anyway, I just said this, right? I said this is an inadvertent admission that the squad are careerists, right? You're worrying about their jobs, but there you go. So hold on, I want to move on to something else now. Give me 1 second, and let me just close this out. Man, there we go. Oh, I've been waiting to show you this because I'm not sure if many people found this clip, but hold on, we'll get to it in a second. Okay, so I think I wrote down the times over here, and yeah. We got the transcript. That's nice. We didn't have it before. Okay.
What is the mood in?
Give me a second. Okay. Yeah. So there's two things in here. There's two things. There's two topics that I want to address. All right. So AOC, she did an interview that was released today, podcast, at The Intercept. It's called Intercepted, right? And she did this interview with Jeremy Scale, and she talks about Pelosi and Assange. I want to address what she said about Pelosi first, okay? So let's just listen to that. All right, let's take a listen.
Example.
Side of this, but I'm asking, represents an existential threat to our democracy and our democratic processes, which I think a lot of liberals and Democrats would agree with that statement. But then they turn around and they team up with neocons like Liz Cheney, and they pass sweeping surveillance powers for this very president and his soon-to-be departed attorney general. They pass record-shattering military expenditures, but can't get $1,200 to suffering Americans. And I know you've been on the right side of this, but I'm asking, are you ready to say Pelosi and Schumer need to go?
I mean, I think so. I mean, and the question is, like this year, for example, the hesitancy that I have is that I want to make sure that if we're pointing people in a direction, that we have a plan. And my concern, and this I acknowledge as a failing, as something that we need to sort out, is that there isn't a plan. How do we fill that vacuum? Because if you create that vacuum, there are so many nefarious forces at play to fill that vacuum with something even worse. And so the actual sad state of affairs is that there are folks more conservative than even they are willing to kind of fill that void. And so what I'm looking at right now is what steps do we take, both in structural changes, because a lot of this is not just about these two personalities, but they are also about the structural shifts that these two personalities have led in their time in leadership, the structural shifts of power in the House, both in process and rule, to concentrate power in party leadership of both parties, frankly, but in Democratic Party leadership to such a degree that an individual member has far less power than they did 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so, the answer is yes. The answer is we need to shift power. We need to make sure that we have a transition of power in the leadership of the Democratic Party, because I think that the hypocrisy you point out is so animating. Frankly, it's a huge reason why I ran for office and ran against a Democrat, because that hypocrisy can be just so rage-inducing for any person. For me personally, it was when I was waitressing and I would hear Democrats talk about why the Affordable Care Act was so amazing all the time and how this is the greatest thing ever and the economy's doing wonderfully. And frankly, it is the same trick that Trump pulls, which is, people touting the Dow as a measure of economic success when we're all getting killed out here. And so, do we need new leadership of the Democratic Party? Absolutely. But how do we ensure that when we shift, we don't even move further to the right? And that's the kind of thing that keeps me up when I think about what we're going to do moving towards the future.
Yeah.
Okay. That was, just absolute drivel. Absolute drivel. She's saying, yeah, we need to get rid of Pelosi, but we got to be careful that we don't drift towards something more nefarious. You're already there. What is more nefarious? This woman is the reason you can't even have a vote on Medicare for all. You're already fucked. She gave PPP money, small business money, to dark money groups and lobbyists, which you fucking voted for in the HEROES Act. 30 years she's been in government, screwing over workers, covering Bush's ass, Obama's ass, covering up for war crimes and torture. What exactly more nefarious are you waiting for? You see how she's playing the lesser of two evils game again? You have nothing to lose at this point. This is bullshit. This is a bullshit answer. This is horse manure. She's protecting Nancy Pelosi. That is what she's doing. Oh, you know, the time isn't right, and you know, it's just, it doesn't work. Why did you bother running for Congress then? Why are you here? The whole thing with AOC is that she caused a huge upset in the political establishment, right? She got rid of Crowley, who's the number 3 in the Democratic Party. Ironically, he was poised to maybe become speaker himself at some point. She got rid of him. She beat him. So what have you got to lose? You're telling us, oh, we can't do anything. No, that's not an acceptable answer. People who don't have health care are the priority. Do you understand? Moreover, you ran on that, so you have an obligation to them if the moral imperative was not clear enough. Yes? They come first. They come first. You're already at that nefarious place. So if you're going to come here and tell us that you can't do anything, why did you bother running then twice? Why did you bother getting elected to Congress twice just to do this? To come here and say, oh, I can't do anything? Then at least burn it down. At least burn it down. Just like you caused a giant upset by getting rid of Crowley, get rid of Nancy Pelosi. If you get rid of Nancy Pelosi, you will have accomplished more than anything you have done until now. All right? That will be your biggest accomplishment until now, since you obviously can't get any policies done and you won't use any leverage. One of the most popular women politicians, congressperson in the country. I think after Donald Trump, who is the president, she has the most reach online. I mean, that's got to count for something, man. That's got to count for something, right? What is the point of having a progressive caucus of 100+ people if you're not going to act like progressives and you're going to get pussy whipped back in the line and serve the interests of people who do take corporate money, right? Your whole thing is you don't take corporate money, you're special, you're not corruptible. Why are you falling in line with people who are then? How are you any different? This is horse manure. I do not tolerate this. I cannot believe that Americans accept this. Again, I'm not faulting Americans. It's not the average American's fault, but I'm saying this out of pity, right? Out of empathy. This is absurd. Like even you go to a European country, for example, right? Even the most far-right parties would not touch the healthcare system. You just don't go there. This is out of the question. Although, you know, if you look at what Boris Johnson's government's been trying to do with, you know, selling off the NHS to Trump. Anyway, but that's, I covered that. Well, that's a whole other story. But generally speaking, even they don't touch that. I mean, this is obscene. And she's sitting there and giving you excuse after excuse after excuse. Okay, you know what, AOC? I believe you. You can't do anything. You can't do anything. All right? Then fucking quit. Make sure Pelosi loses her seat just out of spite, okay? Since she won't give people health care. I think that's an adequate form of retribution, right? Screw her over then on the way out. At least do that. Can you do that? Nope, she ain't gonna do it. You know as well as I. AOC, the squad, they are all gonna vote for Pelosi. You fucking know it, man. You fucking know it. And once again, I come back to my initial point. How on God's earth can you vote for a war criminal piece of shit like that? How can you do that? Like out of principle, you should not be voting for Nancy Pelosi. Out of principle, you should not even be in the Democratic Party. This is a death cult. These people have caused untold amounts of suffering through sanctions, bombs, deregulation. I mean, you can't even quantify it. Aren't you ashamed to be part of this institution? What is wrong with you? I mean, this is incompetence at best, if not being complicit at worst. And I want to show you something interesting, right? I want to show you something interesting over here. This is an interview between AOC and Glenn Greenwald. This is before AOC got elected. Pay attention to what Glenn asks her. You ready?
Time left. Let me just ask you a couple of what I hope are quick questions. Your opponent, Congressman Crowley, has been pretty upfront about his hopes to replace Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer in the Democratic top wing of the Democratic leadership once they retire, or maybe even before that. For as long as I can remember, the Democratic Party in the House has been led by Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer. So if you are elected, will you agitate for different leaders leading the Democratic Party in the House caucus, or do you think that Pelosi and Hoyer should continue to be in those leadership positions?
No, I think that we need new leadership. I think the idea that we should have the same leadership for more than one generation is probably a mistake in American politics in general. When I think about my opponent trying to take Nancy Pelosi's seat, it's like, why? Like, what has he done? And I think that what we need to really look at and value, it goes back down to the idea of valuing fundraising and equating fundraising with leadership. And they're not the same thing. I think that we really need to start kind of changing our standards for leadership and what we define and what we respect as a party. And it's not to say that it's not to speak to Pelosi's leadership, but it's to say, what company oftentimes has the same CEO for 20 years? Or, it's very rare that happens. And what government has the same president for 20 years? And the idea that the third most powerful seat in the country should just be rotated in and out by the same two people for generations, I think is a mistake in our government. Government is supposed to be responsive. And I'm just kind of inclined to think that we should be responsive in our leadership as well.
So my last.
Thank you. Wow. That was refreshing. By the way, definitely go watch that interview because Glenn also asked her about Palestine. Great answer. I'm being serious. She gave a great answer on it. Like really put that into perspective. And here as well, great answer. Where is it? Where is it, AOC? Where is it? This is just, it's unfathomable to me. It's unacceptable. I just don't tolerate this. What is the point of running for Congress twice if you're just going to sit there and spout excuses instead of holding these assholes who won't even give your constituents health care? What is the point? Why did you bother running for Congress just to sit there and give excuses as to why you can't get this done? What, you just want to be on the cover of Vanity Fair? What's the point? I don't get this. Hold on one second. I'm not even sure if my mic is my mic muted? No, I think it's on. Okay. Once again, let me reiterate. What is the goddamn point of you running for Congress, not once, twice, if you're going to come here and lecture people and give them excuses as to why you can't provide them with health care. Why did you do this? I mean, you could have just given up from the get-go. You could have just said, look, I'm not running because it's pointless. We can't get a floor vote. And, you know, I mean, I don't know who can replace Nancy Pelosi. So, you know, it's just, yeah, why bother, right? What's the point of trying? Do your fucking job. Your job is not to go on the cover of Vanity Fair. All right. It's not to come here and lecture people, lecture the peasants. Yeah. The common folk as to why they can't have health care during a pandemic when millions of people are suffering. That's not your job. You were elected on a number of policies and you haven't followed through on any of them. You got nothing to show for it. You're a public servant. Do your fucking job. You people got money to go and bomb Arabs. You just passed the NDAA. I know you didn't vote for it, but you got money to go bomb Arabs. You got money to kill people overseas. Billions of dollars, but you ain't got money to give your own citizens health care during a pandemic. This is unacceptable. I don't tolerate this bullshit. You know, if you got a problem with Jimmy Dore, leave Jimmy Dore alone. He's right. But if you got a problem with him, take it from me. I'm not even American. I'm here to tell you something, man. Your politicians are fucking you over, every single one of them. This is nonsense. This is bullshit. This is unacceptable. This is not tolerated in any other country. They are playing you, man. They are taking you for suckers. And the people that are calling themselves progressive journalists or leftists that are running cover for them and justifying this kind of behavior are fucking bootlickers. You people are fucking bootlickers. That's what you are. You're not supposed to coddle them. You're supposed to help pressure them. It's your fucking job. If not now, then when? C'est pas possible, ça. You know, you want to come here and tell me, oh, it's just one congresswoman. Oh, it's just a squad. They're just 4 people. Bullshit. Bullshit. They got her so scared. They got Pelosi so scared she started dumping corporate money into their opponents. These congresswomen, these 4 congresswomen that you say have no power, have more influence than half of DC combined. Speaking of the House, right? Most people have no clue who's in Congress. Most of these Congress people, these senators, are fucking unheard of. No one knows who the hell they are. Don't come here and give me this bullshit. I don't tolerate this, man, for 1 second. Unreal, man. Unreal. I swear to God. And she gonna sit there and act like she don't know what we're talking about. Really? Really? You're gonna sit there and act like you don't know. So let me just show you the Let me just show you another part of this podcast, of this interview with AOC, where she talks about, or she gets asked about Julian Assange. Okay, pay attention to her response. There we go.
Power in the waning days of his administration. And primarily it's focused around potentially preemptively pardoning members of his family or his inner circle. But I wanted to ask you, and this could apply to either Trump or Biden, if you believe that these individuals should be pardoned. Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, reality winner Daniel Hale, and others who have been charged under the Espionage Act because of leaking or publishing information that cut to the heart of some of the crimes of the American empire committed abroad. Should all of those people be pardoned by either Trump or Biden?
I do believe that Edward Snowden should be considered. I think there are considerations and concerns around Assange, to just be completely frank. But I think the use of the Espionage Act, I believe the Obama administration was correct in declining to use the Espionage Act to pursue charges. And so, I
Whoa. Now, look, man, look. To be fair, let me play to the end, because I think even Jeremy, he realized how crappy her answer was. He gave her another shot at answering it. So I'm going to play to the end, just to be fair. Okay?
I would agree with these assessments. And I think, I understand there's kind of debate in many areas on this, but I think that it was a part of the authoritarian shift in the Trump administration to specifically levy the Espionage Act against these individuals.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to, to get you to endorse Julian Assange. I meant to ask it in a very narrow, and I've also expressed some of my own opinions on this, but in terms of the narrow question on the weaponizing of the Espionage Act, which was not written to go after whistleblowers against all of these people. I mean, do you think it's appropriate to charge these individuals under the Espionage Act?
No, I do not. Clearly, and I think this is.
All right. Once again, though, I need to play that again from the top, because 39 minutes in. Okay, here we go. So,
of the American empire committed abroad, should all of those people be pardoned by either Trump or Biden?
I do believe that Edward Snowden should be considered. I think there are considerations and concerns around Assange, to just be completely frank. But I think the use of
What kind of a lame answer is that? You heard the hesitation in her voice, right? There should be no hesitation when answering a question like that. No hesitation whatsoever. It's an unequivocal, yes, I believe they should be pardoned. The persecution, the witch hunt, the political witch hunt should cease immediately. Considerations and concerns. What? Julian Assange should be given fucking medals, all right, for what he exposed. You seen the collateral murder video? You seen how they were gunning down Iraqi children? Oh yeah, considerations and concerns. What? This is bullshit. I don't tolerate this. This is not some random person that you're asking. This woman says she's a progressive. Okay? Claims to be different from the establishment. Yes? She is a lawmaker, whether she likes it or not. She is a member of this government, of this country that is going after Julian Assange, that is torturing him, that has vilified Edward Snowden, and all the other whistleblowers mentioned. I don't want to hear anything except a resounding yes. He shouldn't have to ask you that again. And even the way he asked it was kind of weird. Like, I'm not trying to get you to endorse him. No. You should be endorsing Julian Assange. Everybody should be endorsing Julian Assange and yelling and shouting and screaming for his freedom. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Like, the guy exposed war crimes. Have you seen what WikiLeaks has published? Do you even know what we're talking about? They know damn well. This is bullshit, man. He should not have to ask you again. You know what that reminded me of? This dynamic here, what we just heard? It's kind of like, imagine, not imagine, we've seen this. It's like you'll hear Trump or some conservative, right? They'll be asked up front, like, whether they think it's okay for cops to shoot unarmed young black men in the street. And they're going to say no, because they know they're being filmed. They know they're in public. And then what comes next? But in this case, then no, there ain't no fucking but. There ain't no fucking but. All right. You shouldn't, man, if it's coming to a point where we got to ask you that thing twice and we got to, ask it so bluntly, there's an issue here. You should be making the goddamn case for them. You're a fucking lawmaker. I mean, like, what planet are you living on? Why is, man, I don't understand this. I really don't. You know, to me, this is a bullshit answer. This is nonsense. You should be using your platform. You're one of the most popular congresswomen in the country, youngest congresswoman to ever be elected. Enormous, powerful reach. Use it. Fucking use it. What are you doing? I mean, if you're not going to use it for this, right, then what would you use it for? You don't think this witch hunt against Julian Assange poses a grave threat? Because, you know, we've been hearing for the last years how Donald Trump is a fascist and he needs to be removed from the Oval Office, and you got to swallow Joe Biden because fascism is so bad, yet they're totally fine with their own democratic brand of authoritarianism and cracking down on dissidents, and even if they're on the other side of the goddamn Atlantic, right? This is not good enough. I do not tolerate this. I'm sorry, I don't tolerate this. I don't accept this. I'm sitting here, I'm not listening to that. This is not okay. I saw what they were doing in that kangaroo court. I was there. So I'm not tolerating this. You're not going to fucking convince me otherwise. No. And she is part of that government. She is an American congresswoman. It's her fucking responsibility to do some shit when she's going to come around and say that she's different from the establishment. Show me that. Grow a fucking spine. What are your concerns behind Assange? What, you don't want people to know that American troops are murdering Iraqi civilians? What concerns are there here exactly? This is nonsense, man. This is nonsense. I don't tolerate this. I don't. And if I'm not mistaken, she was also, she seemed to be on board with, you know, social media censorship as well. So, I mean, just, we're so screwed. If this is what you call progressivism inside of the Democratic controlled House, I mean, oh yeah, this is going great, man. You know, this is going great. Oh, wow. Wow. Not one of them has a fucking spine. To be fair, I think Tulsi Gabbard is the only one who said anything about Assange, right? She put forward those bills. But, you know, this is an Elizabeth Warren. I mean, not even. This is just a crappy, shitty answer. It really is. I mean, it's like, you just imagine that answer in another context. Just put it in any other context. Like, you know, do you think that Nelson Mandela should be freed? Well, you know, I have some concerns, and I think there are some No, bitch, it's a resounding fucking yes. It's a yes. I don't want to hear nothing but a yes, yes, yes. Do you understand? That's it. That's it. Unreal. Unreal. I got nothing else to say, man. That's it. On a closing note, I posted this the other day, man. There's no infighting on the left. You have liberals and imperialists masquerading as the progressive left, currently being exposed by jagoffs in their garages and bedrooms. Quite amusingly, I might add. So there you go. That's just, I mean, beyond underwhelming, man. Underwhelming is an understatement. Okay, so next one, since we're on the topic of Assange. So earlier today, a recording was leaked of a telephone conversation between Julian Assange and a lawyer from the Office one of Hillary's lawyers, right? State Department. And this is Julian Assange warning the State Department that all of their diplomatic cables are about to be dumped on the internet unredacted. Okay? Now, at first I was a little confused because I knew about this conversation because I'd seen just a tiny bit of it. And I think I've showed you this clip before. If you look over here, it's like a 3-minute clip. It's on YouTube, right? So this is, here you go.
Yep, so Julian Assange is the founder of WikiLeaks. Okay, and all of the US Department of State cables, we have intelligence that they are about to be put on the web unredacted, not by us. And I would like to speak to her about this.
Right, so they called to speak with Hillary Clinton. So they're like, yeah, we'll call you back and whatever. Now that's just a 3-minute clip. What we got today is over an hour long. Very, very interesting because once again, this clip, it completely debunks this myth that WikiLeaks were reckless and callous. So I'm just going to play it to you very quickly. All right. I think James O'Keefe posted this, and this was released by Project Veritas. So let's take a listen. By the way, interestingly enough, for some reason, Twitter, they flagged it, which is odd. But there you go.
Yeah, so the situation is that we have intelligence that the State Department database archive of 250,000 diplomatic cables, including the classified cables, is being spread around and is to the degree that we believe that within the next few days it will become public, and we're not sure of what the timing could be, imminently or within the next few days to a week. And there may be some possibility to stop it.
And are these, and who would be releasing these cables? Is this WikiLeaks?
No, we would not be releasing them. Well, this is Daniel Dumscheit-Berg, a previous employee that we suspended last August.
And so he apparently has access to the material that WikiLeaks also has?
Yes, that's correct.
And he has access to everything that you have, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and that includes classified as well as the unclassified cables?
That's correct.
I see. And in terms of what they took, does that mean that they now have the ability themselves, without your control or authorization, to make this as available as they want? Is this now entirely?
That's correct. And there's no attempted redaction program and no attempted harm minimization. In case there are any individuals who haven't been warned, that they should be warned. So the material, there is an encrypted version of the materials on the internet somewhere that we do not control. One doesn't actually need to convey the material itself. One only needs to convey the location of the material and its encryption key. There is another possibility, which is the taking down of those files. That is a degree of research and effort that we do not have the capacity to do. It is. There are not so many of them.
And you know all the locations of them, you think?
We know several, and it's probably not that hard to find the others.
Can you provide us with that location information?
I can encourage other people to do so. Our view is that it's more your problem than it is ours, but we have been calling the State Department and the embassy for over a day, trying to explain the urgency, and they have not called back other than this call.
Well, I appreciate what you've told us, Mr. Assange.
All right, man. Let me break this down for you, because this was brought up, of course, in court when I was covering the hearing, right? The extradition hearing. So, you have. So what is the allegation, right? The allegation is that, well, one of them, there's 18 counts, but they're saying that, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, they endangered people's lives. And you've heard this from Hillary Clinton. You've heard this from Sarah Palin. You name it. Near attendant, blah, 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 right? Which is hilarious. Like, as if murdering, torturing, kidnapping people is not the greater crime here. Oh, no, let's ignore all of that. Let's talk about imaginary spies or soldiers that were hurt, quote unquote, by WikiLeaks. Again, I remind you, the DOD, okay, they had a whole task force assembled, and they concluded not a single person was hurt by WikiLeaks revelations. Not a single one. They couldn't find a single goddamn case. Not one. Nevertheless, they're saying that, look, Julian Assange is so irresponsible. Julian Assange is so callous. He just dumped all of these unredacted cables online. Complete nonsense. Dude, they spent a year redacting cables, going through them. I mean, the process is beyond exhaustive, okay? So many people testified during the extradition hearing to that effect. People who work directly as media partners with WikiLeaks, right? So, I mean, just to give you an example, Stefania Marizzi, Italian investigative journalist, right? I interviewed her right here on the channel. Go and watch the interview. Just amazing, awesome talking to her. And she actually submitted a witness statement during the Assange hearing. And just listen to what she had to say, because I asked her specifically about this.
Completely false that WikiLeaks was not was dealing with these documents in a reckless way. Quite the opposite. It was the first time, believe me. I mean, I have 19 years experience in journalism, 14 in investigative journalism, and it was the first time that we were required to work with such strict rules, using encryption all the time. Never discuss on the phone, never discuss on the email. So it was the very first time. Even my colleagues working on very complicated and sensitive investigation on mafia never used this kind of very careful procedure, and they never use encryption and never use secure communication like the one I have used for the WikiLeaks files.
Right.
So it was.
Okay, you heard that. Here's my interview with Josh Dougherty from Iraq Body Count. So he worked on the Iraq war logs, right? I asked him as well about the OPSEC. I asked him as well about the same thing. Look what he had to say.
During the past decade, we've heard oftentimes that WikiLeaks
work method and work ethic being described as callous and reckless, and that the publication of these cables was reckless. How would you personally describe the operational security that was being used by media partners with WikiLeaks and the redaction process itself?
Well, I think at that time I'd spent about 2 months in London with all these other groups working on the documents, and the idea that that WikiLeaks or the other partners were callous about it is ridiculous. It's not true at all. It was actually a very big issue. It was one of the reasons why the release of the documents was originally scheduled for September, and it was pushed back to October, mainly around the redaction issue. So I think they were taking it very seriously, and from what I remember of the whole redaction issue, I wasn't involved in the Afghanistan releases, but from what I've heard about that and what people were saying about that, the WikiLeaks didn't really have a...
So look, man, I mean, you got multiple journalists and people involved with WikiLeaks testifying in court, right here with me in the interviews as well. First-hand knowledge, telling you how serious they took this. I mean, even more so than other traditional publishers and outlets. That's number one. Okay? Number two, this audio recording that was leaked today, and we had a short excerpt of Assange attempting to reach Hillary Clinton from before. We already knew he'd done this, but now we have the full convo. You know that WikiLeaks was anything but reckless. I mean, this is a joke to even suggest that they willingly or even inadvertently endangered people's lives. Again, it's not even true, and that never happened. So complete, utter fabrication. They only say this in order to justify the attack on Julian Assange, just because, he exposed U.S. war crimes. He exposed their empire. That's what it's all about, right? And what happened, how these documents, the cables, how they were dumped. I mean, again, if you watch the coverage, my coverage of the hearing, we went into detail about this, but essentially WikiLeaks, they kept getting attacked with denial of service attacks, right? So I'm going to go ahead here and safely assume that the U.S. government was in part responsible, but you had people trying to take down their website, basically, right? Trying to hit their servers constantly. And so what WikiLeaks then did is they told people to copy their website, to mirror the website, and host it themselves. The idea was that, it would be impossible then to take WikiLeaks offline because there would be so many people hosting it. There would be too many servers for it to be completely shut down, right? It would be decentralized. Now, what happened, at least, what's his name again? Kolthoff, I think was his name. So he's a computer scientist. He testified in the hearing. He went into detail about this, that people mirrored the site not according to the method that WikiLeaks provided, and must have inadvertently copied the file containing the unredacted cables, the full cables. However, this file was encrypted. The other issue is that you had Dominic Domscheit-Berg. So this guy was also in part of WikiLeaks until he had a feud with Assange, and then he tried to go and make his own website called OpenLeaks or something. He also took the files with him, okay? Among others, which he destroyed. Stuff about the Bank of America, about... what else was in there? I can't remember the other topics, but, things that eventually never got released because he destroyed them. So he also took them with him. Now, where did the password come from, right? Because the encrypted file, you can't do anything with it. David Lee, this Guardian journalist, publishes a book. And this moron, look what he does. He literally names one of the chapters in his book using the password to the encrypted file. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you do that? So David Lee releases the password, okay, and he then claims, oh, I thought it's a temporary password. I didn't know. That's his claim. And we mentioned Dominik Domscheit-Berg, right? So this German newspaper called Der Freitag, and if you listen to this new recording that just came out with Julian Assange, right, the full conversation, he says that German and Danish media we're talking about it, that the file is online, okay? It's out there. So, you know, it was just a question of time. It's just a matter of time before people put two and two together. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, all of the diplomatic cables are released on the internet, dumped, unredacted, the full set. Not by WikiLeaks. And this was pointed out in court. And it's still up here on Twitter. Take a look. Look at this. September 1st, 2011. Download the full unredacted WikiLeaks cables here. So they started appearing on torrent sites. Also, on Cryptome.org. Look at the date and the timestamp. It's still up there. You can go see it yourself right now. 31st of August, 2011. WikiLeaks hadn't published any of this. I mean, the founder of the website, John Young, literally submitted a witness statement at the hearing in September saying, hello, I uploaded the unredacted cables. No one's ever arrested me, and no one's ever asked me to take them down. So David Lee, Domscheit-Berg, no one's gone after them. Same thing for John Young. And I mean, to be fair, they shouldn't either, right? We're not saying that either, because these cables should be out there. We should know about the torture. We should know about the corruption. We should know about the imperialism. So we're not saying that. But the point here is that they're lying. The prosecution is lying. And all of these corrupt bastards in the media are lying about Assange as well. The next day, The Guardian and Le Monde and Spiegel, all of these these media partners that worked with WikiLeaks, that profited, that capitalized, that benefited from these explosive revelations, they did a 180 and they're suddenly condemning WikiLeaks. Because, you know, after Cryptome.org uploaded the set of cables and they were already online, then WikiLeaks was like, okay, well, here they are. Since people have already uploaded them, here they are. And it's funny because in court, what the prosecution then said was that, okay, well, you know, even if that's true, WikiLeaks added a search function, making it easier to access these cables. And so therefore, WikiLeaks is more nefarious. Again, moving the goalposts every goddamn second. They can't get their story straight. They keep fucking lying. Unbelievable. So once again, let me make this as clear as possible. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks and all the people they worked with, all the media partners, spent ages trying to redact these cables, right? To make it as safe as possible. WikiLeaks did not publish the unredacted cables first. Their hand was forced by people who had, you know, gotten hold of the encrypted file and of the password. And by the way, funnily enough, Glenn Greenwald at the time, I found this great piece that he wrote like a day later, I think it's 2nd of September. And he just sums it up perfectly over here. So what happened here was that their hand was forced by the reckless acts of the Guardian's Lee and Domscheit-Berg. One key reason access to these unredacted cables was so widely distributed is that Lee, in his December 2010 book about the work he did with WikiLeaks, published the password to these files, which was given to him by Julian Assange to enable his reporting on the cables. Lee claims, and there's no reason to doubt him, that he believed the password was only valid for a few days and would expire by the time his book was published. That belief turned out to be false because the files had been disseminated on the BitTorrent file sharing network with that password embedded in them. Lee's publication of the WikiLeaks password in his book thus enabled widespread access to the full set of cables. But the key point is this. Even if Lee believed that particular password would no longer be valid, what possible point is there in publishing to the world a specific password used by WikiLeaks or divulging the types of passwords it uses to safeguard its data? 100%. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I couldn't put it better myself. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, you know, I don't know if this is going to lead to anything. This new recording that's been published today. Definitely go listen to it. It really shows you how, you know, Assange was trying to contact the U.S. Embassy, the State Department, Hillary Clinton, and then they wouldn't even send someone personally. Like they didn't. It's like they didn't even understand or want to understand the urgency of what he was trying to tell them. And he even suggested, like, you know, we can't take legal action because they're not our files technically, but you could do something about that. You even have the, I'm paraphrasing here, you even have the technological capacities to maybe take down the files, right? Given that they're a state actor. So he's trying to help them. So you want to come here and tell me that he was reckless and callous and trying to endanger people's lives? I mean, this is a joke. This is completely fabricated nonsense. Utter rubbish. I think Julian Assange was too fucking kind. He should have told them to go fuck themselves. He tried to help them, and look what happened to him. They still put him in jail. They're still trying to jail him for 175 years. Fuck them. It just goes to show you that all of these smears about Assange, all of these lies, I mean, it's repeated without, without concern, without any interest in the truth. And maybe you guys have seen this 2 days ago, but some pastor who's allegedly close to Trump, he tweeted something out which unfortunately turned out to be false. So what he tweeted out at first was that Trump is going to pardon Assange. And then he came back an hour later and said that regarding Assange tweet, inadvertent tweet, faulty source, please disregard. I mean, that was such a letdown. That was just heartbreaking, honestly. I don't even know what to say, man. What? How could you post that unless you were 100% sure? Why would you get people's hopes up like that? That's just really a huge letdown. And just on a final note, I don't even really like that term pardon in the case of Assange. Yes, obviously the extradition request and the indictment should be dropped. Yes, but when you say pardon, it's like you're accepting that he did something bad or that he's guilty. He's not. I mean, he's not even American to begin with. He didn't do anything in America. He doesn't owe the United States a goddamn thing. And even if he were American, and even if this had happened in the United States, he still didn't break any laws. And that's why you should be afraid, because this is an attack on press freedoms. This is an attack on journalists everywhere. They're reaching their tentacles across the goddamn Atlantic. They're going to such lengths to set this legal precedent here and to send a message and make an example out of him, right? So, I mean, that I get the idea when people say, yeah, he should be pardoned. I get the sentiment, but it's like you're saying he's guilty of something. He's not guilty of anything. It's the fucking United States that's guilty of murdering and committing genocide and conquering and plundering other countries and other peoples. That's the real crime here. Okay, and he exposed that, and that's why they're after him. And I mean, okay, with Snowden, again, I'm not a lawyer, but you know, from covering this stuff, I mean, I'm sure he must have signed some kind of contract, given that he was, you know, a contractor to the NSA, and he is a U.S. citizen. But nonetheless, he's not guilty of anything. I mean, look, the guy's a hero. I mean, even the courts now are ruling. Making decisions and rulings, citing the revelations that Snowden and Glenn published. That's how important they are. I mean, it can't be overstated enough, right? The guy's a hero. They're all heroes, these whistleblowers. And you know, when you have scum like Neera Tanden or I mean, Hillary Clinton saying that, oh, they have blood on their hands. You have blood on your hands. Look who's talking. So, you know, I only wish that, you know, Trump pardons Snowden and Assange or drops the, you know, indictments against them and all the other whistleblowers. But I don't think that's happening, unfortunately. I think that... And definitely not with Biden. I mean, you saw me. I asked Chris Hedges his opinion, and it was, you know, it's the same as mine. It's just like fantasy. It's hilarious. I mean, not that they're being prosecuted. What's hilarious is that some people think Joe Biden has a shred of humanity in him. That's what's hilarious. I mean, Biden was the one calling up foreign ministries and telling them to reject Snowden's asylum request. Do you think he's going to come and help Assange or Snowden now? Come on, man. The guy is literally personally involved in his persecution. It's just, they're bastards. They really are. But without a shadow of a doubt, man, you know, Snowden, Assange, Chelsea Manning, all of them, they're heroes. And the things they exposed, I mean, horrific, but we need to know. And there you go. There you go. Decision on the hearing comes out December 4th. So that's, January 4th. So that's less than a month away. Fingers crossed, you know, that the extradition request is dropped. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. So let me just again, my computer was bugging out, and I wanted to talk to you about what's happening in Palestine, but I think I'll film it afterwards for you because it's just so heartbreaking, and you know, no one's talking about it as usual, and I want to do it properly. So hold on, give me a second. All right. This computer is showing its age. Anyway, let me just read your super chats real quick, and thank you for all your patience, guys. Thank you, I appreciate it. So, let me see. So, Rip Sir Win says reformism was proven to fail when the SPD backed World War I. America follows the same laws of history as the rest of the world. It's not exceptional. Well, I mean, one thing that is definitely recurrent is the indoctrination, right? You still see it even in progressives. They still think America is exceptional, right? Like we're going to give you democracy by bombing the crap out of you. Oh man, it's sad. It's sad because you know, it's like they understand about the Iraq war, but then when you start talking about other conflicts, like it just they can't make the connection, right? David, thank you for the super chat. Pompeo lies, cheats, and steals. He was bragging about it in a YouTube video. Yeah. He's talking about the West Point. That's where they send all the officers, right? So he was bragging about it in a YouTube video. I thought Pompeo the pig, Team Trump virus, was complaining about the U.S. election being a fraud. Right, yeah, that's a weird inconsistency, shall we say, right? So if Trump is claiming that U.S. elections are fraudulent, shouldn't you preoccupy yourself with your own affairs instead of trying to meddle in Venezuelan elections, which are way more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not solid, but they're way more transparent, and they have a much better foundation than whatever the fuck is going on in the U.S. I mean, Jimmy Carter himself is coming and telling you that they're a million times better than what you got in the U.S. And you don't need to be a genius to figure that one out. Looking at the voter suppression, the degree to which you can't even run progressives without them also being co-opted. Like, there's no avenue. It's like the voting process all the way to after you've maybe gotten someone who's a progressive elected. It's just all fucked, like from top to bottom. And they want to come and lecture other countries. I mean, it's ludicrous, truly. And once again, it's fundamentally racist, in my opinion, as well, because it's like implying that, oh yeah, people of color, they just don't know how to do it, so the white man has to come and teach them. Go fuck yourself, right? But yeah, again, that's a glaring inconsistency from Trump, right? Pompeo now lies, cheats, and steals and kills with sanctions. Oh, definitely. And those are going to continue, unfortunately. They're going to continue. Thank you for the sticker, Lumpia Logic. I appreciate it very much. Edward says Medhurst all the way. Thank you. Thank you very much, Edward. My man. Skeptical Mantis says, I visited AOC's office in New York City to pressure them on the Dore referendum. I recorded it and uploaded it to my channel. Please check it out. Good show, Richie. Oh, I'm excited for this. By the way, yeah, it was Jimmy who was putting up their phone numbers, right? That was genius. I love that. That's exactly what you got to do. And you know what's funny? I saw AOC earlier on Twitter, like just today, saying that, if you want your representatives, and she was talking to Republican voters, right? She's saying, if you want your representatives to give you more than $600 essentially, and not package it in with a Wall Street giveaway, then you need to call them up. I was like, what? I mean, yeah, she's right, but look who's talking, man. Like, you won't even listen to, your constituents or Democratic voters or anyone, frankly, pressuring you to do what you ran on. And you're you're acting like you're against Wall Street giveaways. You fucking voted for one. You were, man. The CARES Act, the HEROES Act, she voted for that shit. And now she acts like, oh man, we can't have another Wall Street giveaway. Motherfucker. Look who's talking. Like it's unreal. She's a good actress, I'll give her that. Chris, thank you. Chris says, if anything, at least this is showing the true colors of those who are trying to claim to help everyday people, yet are sucking up to the establishment. Definitely. I mean, there's no headroom with this. I'm not tolerating, this, we can't do it right now, and the peasants need to wait. No, I'm not tolerating this. I think people have waited, more than enough. And if you're not going to do it during a pandemic, then get out of here. David says the young Turks are behaving like the old Turk Erdogan. Pretty much. Oh man, Erdogan is busy with his Ottoman escapades, trying to ship off terrorists from Idlib all the way to Libya. Or Alvarez, thank you very much for the donation. Says, not sure if you've interviewed Glenn Greenwald or will in the future, but ask him why he often rationalizes a pardon for Snowden by saying Snowden was a responsible whistleblower. Totally unnecessary and very disappointing. Well, I have interviewed Glenn before, and we did talk about Snowden. I talked more about like how he was working on that. But what do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean here. Responsible whistleblower? As opposed to an irresponsible whistleblower? Like, I'm not sure I've heard that before. I don't really know what that means. But because look, the only context I can imagine that in, but I don't think it applies to Glenn, is when you listen to some people who are against Assange, right? From, even for example, the prosecution in court, they were saying like, oh, well, we're not going after Assange because he exposed war crimes. They of course they are. They can't say that in court. The way they frame it is that we're going after him because he wasn't responsible with his redaction process and he endangered lives. So that's the only thing I can think of, but I'm not sure what you mean exactly. So someone needs to elaborate on that for me because I'm really not getting it. But Rob Junot, thank you very much. Says, you're nailing it, young man. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup, Rob. I appreciate it. Zawaldo says, let's discuss the Taft Hartley Act. Yeah. Oh, God. Why aren't they repealing that? I correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never heard any of the progressives talking about repealing that. Like, no brainer. So I'm reading your comments, guys. I'm reading your comments. No, but the Taft Hartley Act, I don't think I've done a specific video on it, but I've like brought it up a million times in the live, so it's somewhere. But it's like basically it's the death of unions, workers, you name it. I mean, one of the first things that comes to mind, for example, if you're communist, you can't run as a union leader. Like you can't be elected as a union leader to this day. And if I'm not mistaken, this was passed in 1947, right? So start of the Cold War, 1947. Another one, very sneaky, right? For example, if you go on strike, okay, and the employer or whoever's in charge makes concessions and you score a win, it applies to everyone, including those who are not part of the union and who don't pay union dues, who are not even going on strike with you. And you might think, okay, well, that's a great thing because everyone benefits from the win, right? People went on strike. They got a concession. It's a win for everyone. Yeah. Except no, because now you're encouraging people not to go on strike and not join the union and not participate. And so the number of union membership has gone down threefold, right? So you used to have like 30% American workers in a union or who are unionized rather, and now it's like down to 10%. So yeah, that very smart fuckers, right? Just unbelievable. And this is just scratching the surface, by the way, right? I told you guys you should go look at it. That was your homework before. So there you go. Burning Man, thank you for the super chat. Burning Man says, can you look into covering Enbridge Line 3? Basically, it's another Standing Rock happening in Minnesota. I heard AOC talking about Standing Rock today. let me check that out. I think I saw Status Quo reporting on it. Wasn't Jordan talking about this earlier, if I'm not mistaken? In any case, we'll do. And thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I've pulled it up on the other tab. I'm trying to see if I find anything from Jordan. He's always covering stuff on the road, so it's really good. Thank you very much, guys. And hold on, I think I missed. I forgot to look over here. Give me 1 second, because people can send in super chats on PayPal. I just want to read them out to you. Okay. We got one from Ross. Thank you very much, Ross. It's not showing a message. Oh yes, it says keep it up, Pop. Thank you. Will do, Ross. Will do. We got another one over here. It's loading. Thank you very much, Claudia. It says, hi, Richie. Just wanted to say I'm so proud of you in that interview with Jimmy. It was a goal for such a long time. Thank you. That was really awesome to have Jimmy on. You know, listen, all the people, all of these faux aggressives that are attacking him, man, it's not a good look. They fucking know that he's right. They know it. And just like they were wrong on Russiagate, just like they were peddling that nonsense, you know, they're running cover now for the sake of saving, you know, their careers of maybe climbing up this faux aggressive ladder. They think that, you know, sitting back and letting Nancy Pelosi sit in the driver's seat while people die because they don't have health care and things just continue the same way they are is acceptable. That's fucking bullshit, you know. And what Jimmy did is, I mean, it's excellent. Really. It's like he said, man. You got a pothead comedian doing more to put pressure on these elected officials than any of these motherfuckers. And they hate it. That's why they fucking hate it. And they even say he's right. But they can't leave it like that. They can't just say, oh yeah, Jimmy, you're right. This is great. I'm going to help you put pressure on them. No. They got to start bringing up personal beef that has fucking nothing. Like this Francesca chick bringing up Syria. What does Syria have to do with pressuring AOC for Medicare for all? What the fuck is wrong with you? So I had to school her. And she blocked me because, you know, faux aggressives, they don't like hearing about Syria from actual Syrians because they peddle that imperialist bullshit. And then, you know, an actual Syrian comes along and fucks up their whole gig. So, you know, don't work for them. It's all right. It's all right, though. It's all right. I love Jimmy. I really do. That was an honor to have him on. That was great. I'm just checking over here if I missed anybody. I want to make sure I didn't miss nobody. Hey, we got a brand new member on Patreon. Jude, thank you very much. I'm going to play a crab dance for you. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Hey, why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Guys, thank you very much. We are currently at how many? I don't even know where the thing is. Yes. We are currently at 310 patrons. We're on our way to 350. So every time someone joins or donates on the GoFundMe or joins on Rockfin, I play the crab dance for you. That's our little celebration. So I really thank you for supporting independent media. And that's it, man. That's the plug. And because I don't think I plugged the show today. I'm just focusing on getting the stories, man. We got to report. We got to report. Besides the Patreon, if you can, definitely donate on Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, whatever's good for you. Just scan it with your phone, with your camera. And other than that, I would highly, strongly recommend that you guys sign up on Rockfin, okay? Because everyone is on Rockfin already. Jimmy Dore, Graham, Combo Couch, Nico, Whitney Webb, all the leftists are there, man. And, you know, it's a good alternative to YouTube. And we're streaming there right now. I'm streaming on Rockfin right now. So we're on both. And there's no censorship bullshit. And it's completely free. Just go to rockfin.com/RichardMedhurst. Make a free account. All the videos, all the live streams are there. And here's a pro tip. You see that red button that says subscribe? If you do that, you get everybody's premium. Not just me. You get Jimmy, you get Graham, you get everybody. It's all in one. Okay? Oh yeah, and Status Quo, he's also on there. So like, it's good not to be just on YouTube. You know, it's good to have another website, and it's growing fast. It's good. So there you go, man. There you go. That's the plug. And last but not least, there's the GoFundMe. I have no clue where the window is, but so I know I'll post the link for you in the chat. And I thank you guys very, very much. Hold on a second. Mona is saying, shake my head. How you going to ignore my PayPal? I didn't get nothing, man. I swear I didn't get nothing. You know my phone be bugging all the time. You already know. I mean, I'm kind of annoyed because I wanted to cover another story about the stimulus, and I wanted to cover Palestine as well. And the computer just like crashed. Like I started to stream, and then I couldn't even switch between the tabs, so I had to close out some of them. Oh, hold on. I see it now, Mona. I see it now. Mona saying, check out Mr. Big Shot / Big Dick. You think you're too big time for the peasants now? Hey, she talking to me like I'm Nancy Pelosi or something. I take offense to that. I still love you, dude, and I'm so proud of you. You're doing such a spectacular job, and I couldn't be happy for you. Keep up the fucking amazing work. Thank you, Mona. Bless you. Bless you. She's always so sweet to me, no matter what, and I really appreciate that. And we also got a PayPal from Kat Terrell. There's no note. Nonetheless, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys, really the best. And hold on one second. Let me just look. You see, she put me on blast. Mona's put me on blast again. She's saying lies over here. How are you gonna do me like that in front of everyone? How are you gonna do me like that? Oh man. Oh man. By the way, speaking of which, hold on. I mean, this is not really a segment, but I wanted to show you a funny picture. Okay, I wanted to make you guys laugh. Give me 1 second to find this excellent portrait, if we can call it that. It's a beautiful portrait. Okay, where are we gonna find this one? By the way, I wanted to tell you something. I have a name for these people that are angry that we would dare to demand something or I mean, I say we figuratively, but that, you know, one would dare demand something of their elected officials. They're the boutique left. That's the only appropriate name for them. So hold on. I want to show you this funny picture over here. Are you guys ready? I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready for this. This is from Elizabeth Warren. Look what she says. I had a great discussion today with Neera Tanden about how the Office of Management and Budget can help working families and strengthen our economy. Neera has exceptional management experience and vast budget and policy expertise to help make this government work for the people. Oh yeah, you know, I'm so I mean, I'm speechless. I'm taken aback. I cannot wait to see what she does. Balancing the budget, yes, and taking care of the deficit with all of that oil that she's going to steal from Libya and Syria, right? Now that Delta Crescent have been stealing Syria's oil for a few months, right? I bet she's going to do a spectacular job. She's going to balance that budget. She's going to fix that deficit pronto, tout de suite. And only, I mean, Elizabeth Warren. What else could we expect from such a fine progressive, right? Look at this beautiful gathering. What a wonderful sight. What a wonderful sight. Snakes are beautiful creatures, aren't they? Right? Two vipers just chilling. Two vipers just hanging out, man. Two vipers just kicking it. I love the comments underneath, man. They lit him up pretty good. They lit him up pretty good. There it is. We have a giant deficit. They have a lot of oil. Nira, you inspire such confidence. Good luck. Good luck. It's not like Bernie Sanders is going to be any better. He'll just, you know, he'll sign off on her appointment, right? Because once again, even though Joe Biden wants to tap her as head of the OMB, she still has to be confirmed. So Bernie Sanders will put up a real fight, right? For sure. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. All right. Hold on. I'm getting lost with my windows over here. Wait, where did you guys go? Where did you guys go? Okay. Guys, segments will be up shortly. Before I go, I implore you once again to sign up for the newsletter. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And next time, when we go live next time, I'm going to use it to email you that we're live because YouTube might not be giving you notifications, okay? So I think I've sent 2 emails so far. Tell me if you got them. I sent the Chris Hedges interview and I sent the Jimmy Dore interview, okay? And yeah, we're going to use it also for live notifications. I think that's a good way to counter the, YouTube nonsense. So there you go. And other than that, once again, hold on, where am I looking for? We're at 310. We're at 310. We're so close to hitting 350, and you know what's going to happen at 350. It's a brand new crab dance. So if you haven't signed up on Patreon, do so right now. Patreon.com/PapiChuloman. You can support the show for as little as $2 a month. And I mean, we depend on it, man. That's how it goes. I'm a one-man band. This is a one-man army, rather, not a one-man show. It's a one-man army. All right. I'm sitting here at the command station doing all the magic, transitioning between all the screens. So I need your support, guys, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Maybe we can get one last crab dance before I go. So other than that, I hope you guys are well. And hold on, I'm trying to look for something over here. Ah, there it is. I found it.
والله انتوا كلاب بصراحة يعني ماشي نشتغل عادي
I love that clip. I'm going to play that every time the squad pulls some bullshit. All right, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show and tuning in. I will see you next time. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye. Ma'a salame. All right. Be good. Be good.